Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Well, it is Monday. I am grateful that it is Monday and it is sunshiny today here. It was a little bit cool here today this morning. Like I went for my walk in a sweatshirt. Kind of
I know, I was
crazy.
really excited. I stepped outside to let out the chickens, and I was like, oh my God. And I came inside, and then I remembered we only have a high of 80 here today. So I came
Yeah,
in the house and I opened all the windows.
I know it's gorgeous, right? I love it.
Because I
I
don't know
love
about
it.
anybody else, but our electric provider here, I sat and did the math a couple months ago. Our electric rates have gone up like 37% in the past 5 years. Yeah, no. It's insane. So like
Whoa.
for the same amount of electricity, like we're paying all like so much more. And then with the heat, 2023 was the hottest year on record. Um, this one has not been kind to us very much here so far. So like I'm just dying with my electric bill.
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm glad
So
it's nice you get your windows open. It's a
I
little bit
know.
cooler. It'll be beautiful. There's nothing like fresh air jumping in. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm super excited to be here. For those of you that may be joining, so we're streaming to a couple different locations this morning. Kayla,
Ooh.
giving this a try, right? I mean, this is really fun.
Are
So
we on
for
the
those that
YouTube?
may be watching us, yes, YouTube is one of them. So, for those of you that may be catching us for the very first time, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Nicole Broadhurst. I'm a former healthcare administrator turned independent patient advocate, CEO of Tennessee Health Advocates, and creator of The Circle, where I help independent patient advocates build profitable and sustainable practices without the chaos of entrepreneurship. Kayla, who are you?
Hi. I'm Kayla Thompson Riviere, registered nurse turned independent advocate, founder and operator of Herd for Life. Independent
Yay, I
patient
love
advocacy.
it. So on Mondays in the circle, we do Mindset Monday. This is kind of a place for us to kick off our week in a positive mindset. The work that we do as advocates is really challenging work. And as is all business, right? As is all business, especially so in the advocacy world, where we're constantly advocating for patients and families. So we want to make sure that we're starting the week in a good, positive mindset. I have to give all the props to Kayla. We've been doing this for a while now, and actually, it was her suggestion. So, Kayla, what is our quote today? I think I had it on the screen. I'll go ahead and pop it
You
back up
did,
there.
yeah. Oh, we're getting
Awesome.
there's so
Let's
many
take a
like
look.
fun things we do on StreamYard now.
I know, right? It's great. I think it's awesome. So
Okay.
here it is. Kick us off, Kayla.
So our quote this week comes to us from Jimmy Dean. I want a sausage now. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination.
Wow. So this is really great. I was thinking about this and how appropriate it really is, um, in life in general. And then, of course, specifically in regards to advocacy. Good morning. Drop in the chat where you're at, where you're from. Let us know who's here. Um, how it works in regards to advocacy and small business in general. So I have so many thoughts, Kayla. I'm hoping that you have a direction that you can kind of guide our conversation with.
Sure.
I'm all over the
So
place.
this to me really encompasses the philosophy that obviously like you cannot change what happens in your external environment, but you do have the power to control your reaction to it.
Mm.
And there's another phrase, and I guess I should have looked it up. I didn't think about it ahead of time. But somebody else said that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it.
Yes.
So that all just kind of it goes hand in hand together.
Right? It really does. It really does. For so long, I have to confess, for so long in my life, I really believed that I was the captain of my ship and that I got to I mastered that. I had a misperception. I in my mind, I didn't take into account the waves that I could not control of the ocean. And
See,
for a long
I think that's where
yeah,
a lot of people get caught up.
right? You know, and this whole idea of adjusting my sail, right, is something that I fought for a long time. I fought it. Like, I don't want to go that way, and it's taking me that way, as opposed to understanding how to navigate successfully in an ocean that I can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know, for me, that was a real learning process.
Yeah, you're not alone. I mean, just a couple of years ago, this kind of mentality, I just felt like utter BS to me, frankly. Because I was like, oh, well, that's all well and good, but when you have to deal with, you know, this thing that happened to me and this thing that happened to me, and then there's this thing that happened to me, like, well, of course, you know, I'm struggling or having a hard time with it. And that is a victim mentality. And you cannot go very far with a victim mentality.
Right.
Because, like, it's true. I mean, and it's true. It's not to say that it's not true. Like, those things were happening to me. Like, you've had bad things happen to you. Anybody who's watching this, you 100% have had bad things happen to you and bad situations. And I just want to, like, full stop say, like, this is not to discount that at all. But what this really is, you know, bad things have happened to you. Bad things will continue to happen to you. You are going to have, you know, you'll be captaining your ship this way, and you're going to get this full wave come overboard. But then you have a choice if that full wave is going to define the rest of your journey, or if you're going to find the way to deal with it and just keep moving forward.
I love this. I love this. And, you know, my destination, here's the other thing that I just thought of. For those of you that just joined us, there's our quote. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. So one of the things as you were talking, Kayla, I actually thought of was, you know, sometimes my destination changes. Right? Like, sometimes where I thought I was going to go doesn't turn out to be my final destination. And sometimes the wind affects that, and it's okay. It's okay. That's kind of the other thing.
Yeah, no, that truly is another, like, kind of, I would say, slight tangent of this quote. But, you know, that's a good point too. Like, if you are, we'll just keep using the ship analogy.
Sure.
if you are steering your ship and you keep getting this wind this way and this way and this way, you know, maybe there's a reason that you keep getting steered this way. You know, maybe not. Maybe it's just challenges. Maybe you do have to overcome challenges to get to where you're going. But that could be an invitation to sit with your intuitive feelings and just ponder what could be in that direction.
Right.
Because sometimes what we think we know and what we think we need to do doesn't always end up being the right choice.
Right. I often have to remind myself that I'm not in the business of outcomes. Like, I don't always know the outcomes, right? I know my desired future state.
Yeah, and you know what that is? I'll just have to say that is this journey of entrepreneurship. That is a painfully real lesson. I don't bother to keep count of how many times I'm like, oh, this is the thing I need to do, and then nope, not at all.
No.
I've actually
Right.
recently just made a hardcore pivot in what I'm trying to do with my business. And it's so frustrating because I've been trying to do this thing, like nose down, trying to do this for a little over a year. And now that I'm finally like, okay, I'll pivot in this direction that really wasn't where I was aiming to begin with. So many doors are just flying open. And I'm like,
there's a huge lesson in that, right? And I want people to hear what you just said, because I've been trying to share that with folks for the last 2 years. And it's really hard to put that in words because of what it feels like and what it looks like. There's no way to capture that, or at least I haven't found a way to capture the, I don't know what the answer is.
So it's the struggle I dealt with for the longest time is, everybody tells you how hard it is and how long it takes to get a new business started. So for the longest time, I was caught between, have I just not yet reached that threshold of effort before it tips over and you start to see the results? Or am I digging a hole to nowhere?
It's a real question, guys.
I went back and forth with that for a long time. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Never married to one decision at all. Let's just try going this direction. Yes. And if it doesn't work, you can always swing back the other way. And so going to finding language around it, there's another, I guess I'll say mentor. I've never talked to her personally, but I binge her podcast. But she talks about in business, this is going to be we're really sidebarring this whole today, but that's okay.
We're not in the business of outcomes, Kayla.
So she talks about how, like, to do your business, like, stay within your gifts and your zone of genius, and that when you are really performing in your absolute zone of genius and doing the things that really come with your natural gifts, that there's a state of ease to the things that you're doing. Not to say that it's easy. It's definitely still hard work. But if you feel like you're constantly pushing against resistance, there's probably something there that you need to stop and reevaluate. And that's really, did you just change the color?
I did. Okay. I put the title so that when people join us, I know. So I just wanted people to know when they join us what we're talking about. And I was like,
I thought I was losing it, Nicole.
No, you're not. You're not. I just put the title and the thing on there. It's all good. Sorry.
Well, anyways, if you feel like with your work, you're constantly pushing a boulder up a hill, energetically, there's probably something that you're doing that is not in alignment with the way you should be operating. So that's what I've got on that.
Yes, I love it. So, all right. So I'm going to do another just brief show. There we go. Because so that we can recenter. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. And so we went on a little bit of a tangent, but just a little bit. I think that, this is one of those things, again, where I think this is part of pushing the boulder, because I think there is a little bit of that as we get things started, right? It just shouldn't prolong too awful long around what that looks like. Because here's what I want to say about that is if I start pushing the boulder up the hill, because it really is, when I start a business, it is like that, right? If I don't do that work and I shift directions too quickly, then I'm not giving the universe the time that it needs to manifest the result. So I feel like intuitively, I feel that there is a balance
Absolutely, because
between
it also goes
the
along
effort.
with, like, I like to think about it of like growing a garden. Like, you put the seeds
Ooh,
in the
yes.
ground, and then you have to keep watering it, and you have to keep watering it, and you're going to water it for a long time before you see anything. And if you quit watering it because you didn't see anything, well, you just quit watering it too soon.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So, and now where's the balance between those things, between, you know, really working against resistance versus pulling the ripcord too soon? I don't know. And that's why business ownership is difficult.
Right. And you know what? I think,
And that's why we come here every Monday to talk about these things and normalize these things and figure out how to get through these things, because there is not a textbook or a manual or a how-to for the business that you are doing, that although people do it similar things to you, nobody does your business like you do. Nobody has the gifts that you do. Nobody has the experience that you do. And nobody is going to be able to serve clients in the exact way that you do, which is why it's so important that we all are here in this space. That being said, nobody can tell you what the right answer is.
Right? Exactly. And I think that points back to, if you go back and you watch some of the recordings we talked about, there was a whole period of time where Kayla and I were struggling with this whole idea of feelings and intuitive feelings versus ego feelings. And I think that this is another example of that, because intuitively you will feel when it's time to pivot your sales, right? And so I think that these mindset conversations are hugely valuable as entrepreneurs in separating ourselves from intuitive feelings versus ego feelings, and really getting in touch with our gifts and our callings in our business, and where we're supposed to be showing up and how we're supposed to be showing up. Anyway, this is really good stuff, right? And learning how to navigate and to sail. So we have some sailors inside of the circle, which I'm super. So if you're listening, feel free to drop a comment on the video and let us know what kinds of things you had to learn about maneuvering sails, like legit real sails on a real sailboat, right? Because I'm not a sailor and I don't know, but what I do know is that that's a learning curve, right? Learning how to manipulate my sails to push the boat in the direction that, you know, I want it to go is a learning curve and takes time. So, you know, there's that. Don't give up. I don't want to say give up, but don't.
Spirit of resilience.
There we go. Thank you very much. Kayla, always with the words. That's awesome.
I have good words.
Yes, you do. Especially now that I'm getting to the point where I'm losing words. But anyway.
I know, right? I don't have the baby in me anymore. My brain works again.
It's great. It's great.
Pregnancy brain is real, folks.
It is. It is. Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left. Let's kind of chat about how can we take this quote. I'll do a quick share again. How can we take
We're going to try to go back to this quote again.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. How are we going to like implement and execute and use this as our affirmation for the week? Because I don't know about you guys, but that's what I do with these every Monday, is I put them in my planner as my affirmation every morning for the full week, to try and bring myself back to, okay, I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails. What does that look like today? What do I need to
I can't. Oh, Nicole, you talk about it with your what's in your sphere of control. What do you call that?
Yeah, my hula hoop.
Yeah,
my hula hoop.
Yeah, if you would talk on that for just a minute.
Yeah, so I do. I use this idea of I think of myself inside of a hula hoop, because you know it's kind of like, it's bigger than me, but it's not huge, right? And I can only control what's inside of my hula hoop. Have you ever tried to hula hoop with another person inside your hoop? It's not pretty and it is not good, you know. But if I'm inside my hula hoop, I can hula hoop really nice and for a long time. right? But when I get outside of my hula hoop, I can't, like, somebody can walk by and bump it and I'm done, right? So I got to start again. So when I think about what I'm in control of, it's right here, right now, me, what's inside my hula hoop. The rest of the world, I don't have a whole lot of, I might have a little bit of influence. Like if I yell, somebody might not bump into me, right? If I say, hey, be careful, they might not, but I can't control it. I might have some influence on it, but no control. So that's that's how I think about what I can control. So it would be the same.
But the main point being, the world is going to happen around you, and all you can control is your reaction to it. So just bringing some awareness to when there's a stimulus, when there's something happening, allow there to be a pause and some thinking prior to responding. That is challenging. Right? Because so often we live our lives in a state of reactivity. And that's part of, I feel like, the core pillars of growing a healthy mindset is having that awareness and creating space. And if you're listening to this and you're like, that sounds crazy, it's taken me years, okay? It's taken me years to get to the point where sometimes when we'll say the word trigger, when something like flips the switch and I'm like, hey, what? It's taken me years to sometimes get a response. So, or a pause before a response. So if you struggle with this, you are not alone, and it just means you are a human being. And that's why we're here every Monday, and not just sometimes, because this is a regular, ongoing
thing. That is true.
So allow there to be a pause before a response. And then also, again, acknowledging that, yes, the bad things are happening. This isn't to invalidate that circumstances make things difficult. It's just to emphasize that, what happens overall, the outcome is in our control.
Right.
So not to be a victim of our circumstances, but to use it as a learning opportunity.
That's right. I love that learning opportunity.
To figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And because it can be done, right? It's that's the other thing I've learned is very rarely does something happen that absolutely is, well, wait, we've done a quote on this before, Kayla. There was a quote about, I've already survived 100% of my worst days. Is that how it went?
Yes.
Yeah, right. And I think that this feeds into that, or that one feeds into
spirit of resilience.
That's right. Is that, things can happen, and I can figure out how to use them as a learning opportunity or a stepping stone or some sort of positive thing.
Right. I can handle this. I can figure this out. This will not break me. I will reach my destination. All of those like positive self-affirmations of resilience. And then also the cherry on top, the extra challenge, I would challenge you when these things do come up to create separation between the circumstance and your mood, because it can very easily, a negative circumstance can create a negative mood that, again, is sort of the default human programming, but your mood and the way you feel is one of the things that you're in control of. So this is the next layer, the next challenge of difficulty. But the reason I bring this up, I put myself through nursing school and I was still working during it, which, if anybody, are you hearing that too?
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. Sorry. Go ahead. When you were in nursing school.
Just didn't like my story.
I know. No.
But anyways, I went our very first day of nursing classes. they told us if you're working, you need to go put in your notice, and we don't recommend that you work more than 15 hours a week, if at all. And I literally started laughing, and I was like, well, nobody else is going to pay my rent, so guess what? And all through nursing school, there's classroom time, and then there's also clinicals. So you're in the hospitals doing work alongside the nurses, additional hours additional to what you're spending in the classroom. Plus, I worked 3 different jobs. So between class, clinicals, and my work, not counting any studying, which there's a lot of in nursing school, I was clocking 60 or 70 hours a week, and I did that for 16 months straight. And everybody else who I went to school with either had a spouse or parents supporting them. I was the only person who was just flying solo through all of this. And everybody would say to me all the time, they're like, Kayla, how are you so happy all the time when like your life is this stressful? And I was like, well, I can't do anything to make this less stressful, so I might as well be happy. I was like, it's not going to do me any good to be miserable about it. I know how bad it is. I live it every day.
Right. True story. That is a true story, right? Like, yeah. So again, you can't control the wind, but you sure can control the sails. I think that's
and that's not to say I didn't cry about it. Sometimes I did. It was stressful, but on the day to day,
right,
just trying to go through and be as happy as I can, because it was rough. I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I did that, other than I think I was responsible for a lot of like the Monster Energy drinks income that year. 2014, I bankrolled that.
That's great. I love it. All right. So what stories do we want to hear this week from folks that are listening and watching and talking about? What are some things that we want to hear about? Do we want to hear about a time the wind was, I don't know, what's that called?
Any stories that relate, as we're talking about this, is there something that popped in your mind? We'd love to hear about it. Is this something that you struggle with, or is this something that you feel like you've been overcoming? Where are you at in that spectrum? Have you had a time where you've dealt with a very difficult situation and been able to maintain a positive emotional state around that? Definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah.
What are some things, like I mentioned some of the positive I statements. What are some of yours that you've found helpful through this? Or is all of this something you haven't thought about before? If so,
tell us that too.
Stuck out to you as the most impactful. That's got to be 5. I think I threw out 5.
Yes, I think we're good. We'll put some conversation starters inside the circle and look forward to hearing from you guys. And join us next week. You know what? I have to change the thing. It says 8 a.m. Eastern, but it's 9 a.m. Eastern. So I'll get that fixed. I'm sorry. 9 a.m. Eastern and 6 a.m. Pacific time. So go have a great week, everyone. And don't get discouraged by the wind. Learn how to navigate your sails so that you get where you want to go this week. Looking forward to
the last thing that I meant to add to that, not only don't get discouraged, but expect that the wind and the waves will be there.
I love it. That's right. Expect it. It's going to be a weather week. So expect the weather. And let us know how you're maneuvering your sails to get where you want to be through the week. And look forward to hearing any stories. We'll be right back here next week, next Monday, 9 a.m. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.